The LA hard rock scene at the end of the 1970s into the early 80s was a little bit strange because Van Halen had broken massive. But outside of them, no one else was really coming through, so you had a lot of cult bands.
Yeah, all right, Van Halen got signed, okay. Finally, somebody got signed out of LA.
There was no hip-hop, there were no boy bands, there was no punk, there was nothing. It was rock and roll. That was the game.
Going into Hollywood at that time, it was just like another world.
Things started happening so quickly, we were kind of standing back watching as it was going on. You know, it was one of those crazy things.
Thousands of kids would show up to a backyard party, man.
And I see these two guys walk in. Well, it's Dave Roth and Eddie Van Halen. And Dave and Eddie come up, and Eddie's asking me, I didn't even know who they were at the time. And he's asking me about the guitar. Man, how do you make that thing go down so low?
We had cleared all these tables out because they weren't ready for, you know.
The lights go down, the crowd starts to cheer, and Richie says, "Excuse me," and turns and looks right at the stage and watches Eddie Van Halen the whole set. Doesn't look away.
People who don't go back that far as the Starwood goes, they won't realize what an absolutely wonderful place that was.
It just had this vibe, this energy was in this place, and you could really feel it.
They were up on stage and they were playing, and you know what they were doing? They were having a lot of fun.
There was another word for orgies then, it was called quaaludes.
You gave them some blow and a couple of quaaludes and cocktails, and all of a sudden, you know, it was game on in the bathroom with everybody.
The scene back then especially was like gunslingers.
He had the cheese grater on the back of his bass, so he'd rub his knuckles on the back of it, throw blood around, you know, it was a good show.
Honking the biggest loogies on the guitar player, and he was just loving it. They're hanging all over his face.
And then Ringo Starr comes, and he sits down right next to me by John. He's like this, John Bonham's on top of me, and they're talking, and I'm just like some furniture.
It was just gonna be about steady pace, do what we're gonna do, period.
If you wanted to be a musician, you were playing rock and roll, and the competition was stiff. We got paid.
I remember going back, going like, I could do that.
So much of a bummer to see these great bands and nobody knew who they were or anything about them.
The LA scene was huge, and it was wild. I mean, it was just incredible.